You're standing in a room with someone you love. The air is thick. You've just told them they hurt you. You didn't shout. You didn't point. You just said it. I feel hurt when you say that. And then it happens. Their face changes. Their voice drops. And suddenly, they aren't the person who hurt you anymore. They are the wounded one. They are the one who has been wronged. They look at you with a mix of disbelief and pain, and they say it. How could you accuse me of that? After everything I do for you, you're always so sensitive. You're the one who is attacking me. And just like that, the script has flipped. You aren't the victim anymore. You are the villain. This is not a random argument. This is a weapon. This is a psychological maneuver so precise and so destructive that it has a name. It is called DARVO, and it is the single most effective tool in the Gaslighters playbook. Today, we are going to tear this tactic apart. We are going to look at exactly how it works, why it works, and what you can do when you find yourself on the receiving end of one of the most disorienting experiences in human interaction. Because if you don't understand the mechanism, you will always lose. But once you see it for what it is, the power shifts back to you. Let's start with the basics. The term DARVO was coined in 1997 by psychologist Jennifer Freyd. It stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. It's a pattern of behavior that is common in situations of psychological abuse, but it is most visible when the abuser is confronted. It is not a simple argument. It is a systemic shutdown of accountability. First, the gaslighter denies the behavior. They flat out say it didn't happen, or they minimize it. I didn't say that. You're imagining things. That's not what I meant. This denial isn't just a lie. It is a reality check designed to make you doubt your own perception. Once that seed of doubt is planted, the attack phase begins. But this isn't a physical attack. It's an attack on your character, your memory, your sanity. You're paranoid. You're overreacting. You're trying to start a fight. You're the one who is always so angry. And then, the final phase is the reversal. The gaslifter declares themselves the victim. You are the offender. You are the one who is hurting them. They were just trying to help you, and now you are accusing them of something terrible. The entire framework flips. You came to them with a wound, and you walk away guilty. This dynamic is not random. It is calculated, even if it's not always conscious. For the gaslighter, accountability feels like annihilation. If they admit to being wrong, their entire self-image collapses. They cannot hold the idea that they are both a good person and a person who did something harmful. It's a cognitive impossibility for them in that moment. So instead of processing the guilt, they eject it, they project it, and they make you carry it. The pain you felt is now a weapon you used against them. And the only way to survive in that dynamic is to understand that you are not dealing with a rational conversation. You are dealing with a survival instinct. Let's look at a real scenario. Imagine a relationship where one partner is consistently late. They forget important dates. They dismiss the other person's feelings. After months of this, the partner finally sits down and says, "I feel like you don't respect my time. It hurts me when I'm waiting and you don't even apologize." This is a vulnerable statement. It is a bid for connection. But in a DARVO dynamic, this is a threat. The gaslighter's brain goes into defense mode. The denial is immediate. "I'm not late. I'm always on time. You're the one who is always rushing me." Then the attack. "You know I'm busy. You know I have a crazy schedule. You just sit there and criticize me. You never appreciate what I do. You're so selfish." And then the reversal. "I can't believe you're doing this to me right now. I'm exhausted. I work so hard for us, and all I get is you attacking me. You're the one who doesn't care about my stress. You're the one who is being unreasonable." And now, the original speaker isn't talking about their hurt anymore. They are defending themselves against accusations of being a terrible partner. They are consoling the person who hurt them. They are apologizing for making the situation worse. The issue of being late disappears. The conversation got derailed. The gaslighter escaped accountability, and the victim is left feeling confused, guilty, and drained. This is the trap. Why does this work? It works because of a series of cognitive biases that we all carry. The first is the self-serving bias. Most humans have a natural tendency to attribute their own negative actions to external circumstances, but they attribute other people's negative actions to their character. "I was late because of traffic." "You are late because you don't care." The gaslighter takes this to an extreme. They cannot accept any internal fault. Everything is a response to something you did. The second bias is the just world hypothesis. We want to believe that the world is fair, that victims deserve what they get, and offenders are punished. When a gaslighter plays the victim, our brains struggle. We see someone crying. We see someone in pain. Our instinct is to comfort them. We don't immediately check to see if that pain is genuine or if it is a weapon. The gaslighter exploits this instinct. They use tears and frustration as a shield. And the third mechanism is gaslighting itself. The constant questioning of your reality. When you are told repeatedly that you are too sensitive, that you are misremembering, that you are the problem, your cognitive confidence erodes. You start to trust their version of events more than your own. And once you are in that doubting state, you are easy to manipulate. You will apologize just to stop the chaos. There is also a deeper, more uncomfortable truth here. The gaslighter often genuinely believes they are the victim. This is not always a cynical performance. It is a psychological distortion called victim identity. When a person has a fragile ego, any criticism, no matter how gentle, feels like a mortal attack. They feel the pain of being accused so intensely that it eclipses the pain they caused. Their emotional reality is that you hurt them first by pointing out their mistake. In their mind, they are defending themselves against your aggression. This makes it incredibly difficult to reason with them because you are not operating in the same reality. you are talking about a specific event. They are talking about their own emotional survival. This is why trying to explain yourself in this situation is often futile. You are trying to solve a logic puzzle with someone who is playing a totally different game. Statistics on emotional abuse show how pervasive this dynamic is. The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence reports that nearly 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of intimate partner violence, and that includes psychological aggression. DARVO is a hallmark of that psychological aggression. It is a significant predictor of long-term trauma in survivors. Studies show that victims who experience DARVO during confrontations are more likely to blame themselves for the abuse, feel more depressed, and are less likely to seek help. Why? Because the reversal makes them feel crazy. They go to a therapist, a friend, or a family member, and they tell the story. But it's confusing. They start by saying their partner was mean, but by the end of the story, they are apologizing for their own behavior. They don't even know if they are the victim anymore. This confusion is the poison. It isolates the victim. They feel like no one will believe them because they can't even construct a clear narrative for themselves. So how do you recognize DARVO in the moment? The first sign is emotional whiplash. You start a conversation feeling angry or hurt, and within minutes you feel guilty, confused, or defensive. You find yourself apologizing when you were the one who was wronged. The second sign is the shifting of the goalposts. The original issue disappears. You are no longer talking about what they did. You are talking about your tone, your timing, your past mistakes, your character. The third sign is a feeling of unreality. You know what happened. You remember it. But the way they are telling the story makes you doubt your own memory. You feel like you are losing your grip on the facts. If any of these things happen during an argument, you are likely in a DARVO loop. Once you recognize it, the response is almost never about winning the argument. The response is about disengaging from the trap. The first rule is to stop explaining yourself. The gaslighter is not confused about what happened. They are rewriting it. Any attempt to clarify will just give them more material to twist. The second rule is to name the pattern. This is powerful, but can be dangerous depending on the person. You can say, "I notice that you are denying what I said, then attacking me. And now you are saying you are the victim. I am not going to follow this loop." This forces the dynamic into the light. Some people will snap out of it. Others will escalate. If they escalate, you have your answer. The third rule is to anchor yourself in your own reality. Before the conversation, write down the facts. I said this. I felt this. That happened. When the gaslighter tries to make you doubt, you don't argue. You simply repeat the fact. I understand you feel attacked, but I am not arguing about that. The fact is you were late and you did not apologize. I am not moving from this point. This is called setting a boundary. You are not going to chase them into the reversal. You are not going to validate their victim narrative. You are going hold the ground you stood on. The most effective long-term strategy is to build your own psychological resilience. This means understanding that you do not need their admission to validate your reality. You do not need them to agree that they hurt you for it to be true. You can know something is true without them confirming it. And that is a hard lesson. We are social creatures. We want resolution. We want the apology. We want the acknowledgement. But with a gaslighter, that acknowledgement may never come. And chasing it will drain you. You have to be willing to walk away from the conversation without closure. You have to be willing to trust your own memory, even when someone is trying to erase it. There is a reason this tactic is so common. It works. It protects the abuser from shame. It deflects responsibility. It keeps the victim in a state of confusion and dependence. But it only works if you don't see it. Once you see the pattern, it loses its power. You are no longer a confused participant. You are an observer of a predictable mechanism. You know that the denial is a shield. You know the attack is a diversion. You know the reversal is a manipulation. And when you know that, you can stop playing the game. You can refuse to carry the guilt that doesn't belong to you. You can refuse to apologize for your own pain. The final thought is this: the reversal of victim and offender is not just a tactic. It is a reflection of a deeper brokenness. A person who cannot admit fault is a person who is afraid of their own shadow. They cannot be vulnerable. They cannot be accountable. And because of that, they cannot truly connect. They are trapped in a cycle of self-protection that leaves everyone around them exhausted. You cannot fix that person. You cannot love them into accountability. You can only protect your own mind. You can only refuse to be the villain in a story where you are the one who was wronged. And you can walk away, not from the argument, but from the game itself, because you are not crazy. You are not too sensitive. You are the one who had the courage to speak the truth. And no amount of denial, attack, or reversal can ever change that.